He was the voice of Peter Pan, the face Walt Disney built a studio around. And 19 years later, he died on the floor of an abandoned New York tenement, alone, unidentified, and buried in an unmarked grave before anyone realized who he was. His name was Bobby Driscoll, and his story is not the exception, it's the rule. I'm going to show you 19 documented cases, everyone sourced, every name on the record, spanning nearly 100 years, from the silent era to today, different decades, identical wreckage. 5 of them made it out alive. Not one of them walked out clean. Some were robbed of fortunes they earned before they could read a contract. Some were thrown away the moment they stopped being adorable. And one of them, number 14, broke a generation's heart in a single morning, for a reason almost nobody understands correctly. We'll get there. This is the documented price of being a famous child. Here's the real deal. Bobby Driscoll was Disney's first real child star. In 1949, the Academy gave him a special juvenile Oscar at 12 years old. He was the live-action model and the voice for Peter Pan, the on-screen face of Treasure Island, the boy every studio wanted. Then he hit puberty, and Disney dropped him. Acne, a changing voice, and suddenly the studio that built him had no use for him. By 16, he'd turned to substances. By his 20s, the offers were gone entirely, and you already know where this one ends. The empty building. The pauper's grave on Hart Island. 19 months before a fingerprint told the world that Peter Pan had been dead the whole time. That was the cold open. This, the puberty he couldn't stop, the studio that dropped him the moment his voice changed, is how he got there. And it's the same machine you're about to watch run for the next 30 minutes. "40 years earlier, the very first child superstar learned the same lesson a different way. Jackie Coogan starred opposite Charlie Chaplin in The Kid in 1921. He was 4 years old and he was a global phenomenon, one of the highest earning performers in the world. He earned an estimated $4 million as a child. But when he turned 21 and went to collect it, almost all of it was gone, spent by his mother and stepfather, who argued the money was legally theirs. Coogan sued. He recovered only a fraction, but his loss became every child actor's protection. In 1939, California passed the Coogan Law, requiring that a portion of a child performer's earnings be legally safeguarded. The boy who lost everything is the reason kids today keep anything at all. Some of these stories aren't about Hollywood at all. Some are just a quiet cruelty no one saw coming. Heather O'Rourke was 5 years old when she delivered the most famous line in horror history.
"They're here."
They're here. What almost no one knew, including for years the people closest to her, was that Heather had been born with a condition affecting her intestines. It was congenital. It was silent, and it gave no warning until the very end. In early 1988, she fell ill, and doctors initially treated it as the flu. What was actually happening was an obstruction that her underlying condition had set in motion. By the time the real problem was caught, it had triggered cardiac arrest and septic shock. She died on the operating table at 12 years old. Her family later filed a malpractice suit, alleging the warning signs had been caught too late. Her final Poltergeist film was released after her death. The franchise about a child taken by forces no one believed in had lost its own child star to a condition no one caught in time. Judith Barsi's voice is one you already know. She was Ducky in The Land Before Time.
"You keep it safe. Yep, yep, yep."
Yep, yep, yep. And Anne Marie in All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Then, goodbye, Charlie.
By 10 years old, she'd done dozens of commercials and was voicing animated classics.
Ever since Mom and Dad found out that Donald Duck is 100% pure orange juice, they've been acting kind of funny.
But at home, she lived in fear. Her father was reportedly abusive, and despite documented warnings to authorities, the family wasn't protected in time. In July 1988, in a domestic tragedy, her father killed Judith and her mother before taking his own life. She was 10. All Dogs Go to Heaven was released the year after she died, and the filmmakers dedicated it to her. A movie about a dog who gets a second chance, voiced by a little girl who never got hers. Anissa Jones was Buffy on Family Affair. The little girl clutching her doll, Mrs. Beasley, in front of 40 million viewers a week. The doll became one of the best-selling toys in America. She was the most recognizable child in the country. But when the show ended, the work dried up, and the transition to adult life was rough. She wanted out of acting entirely. In August 1976, at 18, she died of an accidental overdose, at the time, one of the most severe the county had recorded. She'd reportedly grown to resent the role that made her famous. The doll outlived the girl who made it a household name. Mrs. Beasley is still sold today. Scotty Beckett was a star of our gang, the Little Rascals, by the time he was 6.
Maybe we ain't us. Maybe we ain't us.
He was the kid in the oversized cap and crooked smile, then a successful teen actor in the 1940s. For a decade, he was everywhere.
Oh, the moonlight's fair tonight along the wall.
Adulthood unraveled him. A string of arrests, financial trouble, and a reputation that scared off the studios. The child everyone adored became a name Hollywood quietly stopped calling. In May 1968, the same year Bobby Driscoll was found in that empty building, Scotty Beckett died at 38 under disputed circumstances that were never fully resolved. Two golden age child stars, gone within months of each other, both long forgotten by the industry that made them. Those were the foundations, the first proof that there was never just one way to break a child star. You could be robbed of your fortune. You could be discarded the second you outgrew cute. You could be failed by someone who was supposed to protect you, or simply betrayed by your own body, with no warning anyone could have seen coming. You'd think that with every passing decade, more lawyers, more managers, more labor laws, the industry would have learned. It didn't. It just got more efficient at the same damage. What you're about to see is that same story, on repeat, right up to the present day. In 1978, Gary Coleman was the most famous child in America.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
Diff'rent Strokes made him a household name, and at his peak, he was earning a reported $100,000 per episode, one of the highest paid child actors of his era. But when he turned 18 and reached for the money he'd earned, he found a trust fund that had been gutted. In 1989, Coleman sued his adoptive parents and his former manager, accusing them of misappropriating his earnings. He won. A court awarded him roughly $1.3 million in 1993, but it was a fraction of what he'd made, and the legal fight, along with serious health problems, defined the rest of his life. He spent his later years working ordinary jobs, the punchline of late-night monologues, a man whose face the whole world knew and whose fortune was gone. He died in 2010 at just 42. Her television brother followed the same arc. Dana Plato played Kimberly on Diff'rent Strokes, the all-American girl next door.
Oh, look at them, Daddy. Just look at them. Aren't they gorgeous? Real boys. Welcome, little brother. Welcome, big brother.
But when the show ended, the roles didn't come, and the fall was public and steep. Arrests, financial collapse, a photo spread, and a robbery charge that made headlines precisely because of who she used to be. In May 1999, Dana Plato died of an accidental overdose. She was 34 years old. One day later, almost to the hour, it would have been her son's birthday. Two of the three Drummond kids from one of the most popular sitcoms in American history were now gone before their time. People started calling it a curse. It wasn't a curse, it was a pattern. Corey Haim was the face on 1 million bedroom walls.
And pray you never need to call us.
I'll pray I never need to call you.
The Lost Boys, Lucas, License to Drive. In the late 80s, he was the teen idol every studio wanted and every teenager adored. And then, like so many before him, the work slowed and the struggles began. When he died in March 2010 at 38, the headlines wrote themselves. Another child star lost to addiction. Except that's not what happened. The autopsy was clear. Corey Haim died of pneumonia, not an overdose. The story everyone assumed, the story that fit the pattern so neatly, was wrong. And that's the trap of this entire genre. We see a fallen child star and we fill in the ending we expect. Sometimes the truth is quieter and sadder than the myth. Jonathan Brandis had the kind of fame that covered teen magazine walls across the country.
This is my stop. Bye.
Sequest DSV made him a heartthrob at 17. He got thousands of fan letters a week. He was talented, ambitious. He was directing and writing, trying to build a career that would outlast the teen idol moment. But the roles he was counting on fell through. Parts he'd filmed were cut, the momentum stalled, and the comeback he was banking on didn't come. In November 2003, Jonathan Brandis died by suicide. He was 27. He is one of the names people forget when they list these stories, and that, in a way, is the cruelest part. The boy who got thousands of letters a week became a footnote. Lee Thompson Young was Disney's The Famous Jet Jackson.
Who do you think you are?
Jet Jackson.
Nice!
The lead of his own series at 14, poised, gifted, the picture of a child star who was doing everything right. He grew up to work steadily as an adult actor, including a role on Rizzoli and Isles. What the public didn't see was a private struggle with bipolar disorder and depression. In August 2013, when he didn't show up to set, his manager asked for a welfare check. Lee Thompson Young had died by suicide. He was 29. He had done what so few of these kids manage. He survived childhood fame and built an adult career. And it still wasn't enough to outrun what he was carrying. If the cold open of this story was a Disney voice who died anonymous, here's where that story repeats. Daveigh Chase was the voice of Lilo in Lilo and Stitch.
Hello? Hello? Are there any animals in here?
And the terrifying Samara in The Ring.
So peaceful.
Two of the most recognizable roles a young actress could have. Her voice and her face were everywhere in the early 2000s. The years after were a long, public struggle with addiction. Despite signing away part of her earnings in a royalty deal, she was reportedly unable to collect millions in residuals, and at one point she was living on Los Angeles' Skid Row. In June 2026, Daveigh Chase died in a Los Angeles hospital of sepsis following meningitis. She was 35. The voice of a Disney heroine and the most famous ghost girl in modern horror, ended where Bobby Driscoll's story began. Forgotten by an industry that had once put her face on everything. Not every one of these endings is about Hollywood at all. Some are just heartbreaking. Sky Nicole Bartusiak was the little girl in The Patriot.
Papa! Papa! I'll be anything you want.
Opposite Mel Gibson, a working child actress with real talent. She had lived with epilepsy since she was a baby. The seizures had faded for years, then returned. In July 2014, after a week of seizures, she died in her sleep at home. She was 21. No scandal, no cautionary tale about fame. Just a young woman with a medical condition gone far too soon, and a reminder that not every fallen child star fits the story we want to tell. And then there's the one that broke a generation's heart in real time. Cameron Boyce was Disney's biggest young star of the 2010s.
Ben! This thing is a killer! He's gonna chase me down and rip out my throat!
Descendants, Jesse, a kid with extraordinary charisma and a real conscience, already using his platform for charity before he could legally drink. He had been diagnosed with epilepsy. On July 6, 2019, Cameron Boyce died in his sleep from what doctors call SUDEP, sudden unexpected death in epilepsy. He was 20 years old. He is the second person in this story to die of a seizure disorder. Sky Bartusiak, and now Cameron Boyce. Two young actors, decades apart, lost to the same quiet condition. Not addiction, not Hollywood. Just a body that stopped in the night with no warning. Cameron Boyce had everything the others were chasing. The talent, the platform, the love of millions, and a head on his shoulders. And it still wasn't a shield. That's the thing this entire story has been building toward. Fame doesn't protect children. Nothing about being adored keeps you safe. 14 names. 14 kids America loved and then watched fall. By now you might be wondering if anyone survives this, if making it out is even possible. The answer is yes. 5 of them did. But before you let that comfort you, not one of them walked out clean. Here's what survival actually costs. So far, this has been a story about falling, but the promise at the start was that 5 of them made it out alive. Just understand what making it out actually means. Not one of them walked out clean. Survival for a child star isn't the absence of damage, it's learning to carry it. Of the 3 Drummond kids on Diff'rent Strokes, 2 were already gone, Gary Coleman and Dana Plato. Todd Bridges is the one who's still here, and for a long time, that was not the way the smart money would have bet.
Let's shake hands, huh? Like, a brother. I've been practicing, Willis.
No wonder they can't play basketball.
After the show ended, Bridges fell into addiction. There were arrests, there was a near-fatal spiral, and at his lowest, a loaded gun, and a man who, by his own account, did not expect to live much longer. The kid who played Willis had become a cautionary tale in real time, but he clawed his way back. Decades of sobriety, a second career, a man who buried both of his television siblings and chose, every single day, not to become the third. Todd Bridges didn't walk out clean. He walked out alive, and for a long time, that was the long shot. Mara Wilson was the little girl in Mrs. Doubtfire, A Miracle on 34th Street, and Matilda.
Hell strippers!
Dad,
What do you want?
yell at me, okay?
Shut up and leave us alone!
Yell at me again!
yell at you. I'll come in there and pound your miserable hide. What do I have to do to gain respect around here? I'm gonna give you a tanning like you never heard in your life. My word is my law. You understand?
For a few years in the 90s, she was the most wanted child actress in Hollywood, and then she stepped away. Not in a blaze of scandal, she just stopped. Part of it was grief. Her mother died of cancer when Mara was 8, during the most intense years of her fame. Part of it was an industry that, as she grew up, made her feel she was no longer cute enough to be wanted and judged her body before she was even a teenager. She has written with unusual honesty about the strange cruelty of being a child whose worth was tied to staying small and adorable forever. So she left and became a writer, the person telling the story instead of being the story. Mara Wilson made it out by recognizing, earlier than almost anyone, that the thing she was surviving was the fame itself. Her scar is the one that healed into a voice. Jaleel White was Steve Urkel, the suspenders, the voice, the single most recognizable character on television in the early 90s.
See ya. Did I do that?
Family Matters was built around him. The problem is that it worked too well. When the show ended, casting directors didn't see Jaleel White, the actor. They saw Urkel. The character he created was so total, so iconic that it became a cage. He couldn't get the adult roles he wanted because audiences and executives couldn't unsee the nerd in the suspenders. He has said the voice itself left lasting damage from years of performing it. He never fell the way the others did. No scandal, no tragedy. His scar is quieter. A talented adult spending years trying to convince an industry that he was more than a character he invented as a kid. In his own 2024 memoir, he finally told that story himself. He made it out. He just had to outlive his own creation to do it. At 10 years old, Macaulay Culkin was the most famous child on the planet.
I made my family disappear.
Home Alone was a global phenomenon, and he was the face of it, reportedly commanding millions of dollars a film at an age when most kids are in 5th grade. And then he did something almost no child star had ever done. He stopped and he fought back. As his parents' relationship collapsed into a bitter battle over his custody and his earnings, Culkin went to court and was legally emancipated. He cut his family off, financially and otherwise, and walked away from the machine at the height of his fame. He would later publicly allege that his father had been abusive. He didn't crash, he didn't overdose. He did something harder and stranger. He simply stepped off the ride and spent the next 20 years figuring out how to be a person instead of a product. Today he's a father, building the childhood for his own kids that he never got. He made it out by refusing to keep playing. And then there's the one who, by every rule this story has shown you, should not have survived at all. Drew Barrymore was born into Hollywood royalty and made a star at 7 by E.T. But fame came at her faster and younger than almost anyone before her. She was a regular at the world's most famous nightclubs as a child. By 9, she was drinking. By 12, harder substances. By 13, she was in rehab, and her mother had placed her in an institution. She had every ingredient of the stories you just watched end in a grave. The early fame, the absent father, the money, the addiction before she'd even finished growing. By any pattern in this video, Drew Barrymore was supposed to be a name we mourned. Instead, at 14, she did what Culkin did. She went to court and emancipated herself. She got sober. She clawed back from being labeled unhireable to building one of the most durable careers in modern Hollywood. A producer, a studio founder, a talk show host, an empire. The little girl the industry had nearly thrown away rebuilt herself into someone it couldn't function without. She didn't walk out clean. None of them did. But Drew Barrymore walked out, and then she turned around and built a door for everyone else. "19 children, one industry, 100 years of the same story, told over and over because we keep falling in love with kids on a screen, and we keep looking away from what it costs them. Some of them it buried in unmarked graves. A few of them clawed their way back out, but every single one of them paid, and the price was their childhood. Fame is not a shield. It never was. The next time you watch a child light up a screen, remember what you're really watching. Not a star being born. A bill coming due. That's the real deal."